I have started Japanese language 2004 or 5, I guess. Yes. So that was diploma courses in for language university before the graduation, post graduation. So it was uh, altogether different and atmosphere where we were not have an environment about Japanese language and Japanese people and culture. So I was lucky, and we are the lucky. Around in 2007, we have got one native Japanese speaker, and she has taught us a lot in terms of katakana, because katakana is one of the I think it's challenging tune, and the phonetically is very challenging when you're pronouncing. Like for airport, many people will face a challenge to pronounce like airport. So even if you talk in Japanese in katakana, and if you're not pronouncing it properly to Japanese, he or she will not understand. So in terms of language, you have to improve how and the pronunciation. And in some of the regions where some language pronunciation challenges face, but you have to work on it. So that will help you in the terms of when you started translation or interpretation, especially when you're talking with the client. That will help you to understand the speak out the translate properly, interpret properly what other party is saying.
So when I started my career, it is just immediately after coming out of the what do you call school. So I challenged different, tried different approaches based on the trial and error. So the main things what I observed is like lack of the cultural knowledge. So suppose you are speaking good standard Japanese. So by default, Japanese will think that, oh, this guy speaks very good Japanese, and he must be knowing about the Japanese culture in detail as well. So that makes a lot of change in the working culture. Like when I came out of the school, I was not aware about the Japanese working culture. So that was the one main part which I missed, and it created a lot of chaos. And next thing is about the what do you call one more discomfort. What I felt is when you make a statement in Japanese, so it's not a what do you call disrespect to Japanese people, but when you make a statement, they will analyze your statement word by word, dot by dot. So that made a lot that made me a lot of discomfort, and these days also it keeps going. So I have to somehow manage with that. And another way is another thing is I worked in the technical publication department of the one company. And for example, when you are writing the manual, basically if it is a very technical term, you will refer to the dictionary and you will take the best fit word and put it in the manual. So when the Japanese reader reads, there is a lot of iwakan. So means there is a strange feeling. So that also one challenge what I faced. And another from the Japanese school itself, I used to face this derukui wa utsu. So which means you have to go with the flow. So you have to in the initial stage. I didn't get that, but for the new freshers, I want to say that you have to go with the flow first, then master that flow, then you can make your suggestions or comments, whatever it is. So that's all. These are the main areas which I face the challenge.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
I would like to come up with this one point specifically as we are talking about this. So there are a lot of assumptions, and there are a lot of assumptions which all of us have. This is not just I can change to Japanese. 結構ですね、日本語で話をすると結構日本人と対応するとか、異文化の人と対応することによその基礎としている話ですと、無意識的にですね、いろいろなやっぱり先入観といいますか、いろいろなこれが常識だと思っていることがあると思うんです。二つの文化の人はいつもそういうふうにお互いを理解しようとするんですが、ただそのギャップを埋めるためにいつも私の前提はこれです。 あなたの前提はこれと合ってますかという確認が非常に必要だと思うんです。ただ仕事をするときに、時々はそういった確認の時間がなかったりするんです。なので、その時間がないときに、ちょっと事前に準備として、この前提はこうですねという話をするとか、そういうやり方で進めた方が、私として、私は非常に勉強になってですね、自分の前の会社の人がそういったいろんなことをこう教えてくださったので、私はそういったことを勉強しました。
All right. So since this question is in the context of Japanese language professional, so there are two skills basically that a company needs or the corporate needs, right? It's translation or interpretation. In terms of translation, the challenge I faced and which will be very valid for the people graduating now is the usage of some of those tools for translation that are being there out there, right? So you need to understand how to learn these tools because more and more AI translation and those kind of things will go on, right? So it's very important. Now, in terms of interpretation, now that's a very different skill. And I'll just narrate one example. Sometimes, I remember in my years after I graduated, I was given the chance to interpret at a press conference. Daiichi and Ranbaxy were merging. And there was a press conference going on with to the Daiichi president. Are you looking for more acquisitions in India? Now, this is a very sensitive question, right? And to which the Daiichi president, he responded, Ranbaxy-san dake to susumetai no desu ga. And this ga was my challenge during interpretation, right? So in English, you cannot stop at ga, right? You have to complete the sentence. And then it was a big issue because I was like, I translated it, I interpreted it like, at this point in time, we are fixated on Ranbaxy, but, and then I had to complete that but, right? So I put something randomly, and then there was a lot of cross questioning from the journalists again. So now these kind of cultural nuances, as Prasad was also saying, are very important for us to know.